Welcome to St. Johns River Ferry, the best commute in Northeast Florida. I ride the ferry all the time. My name is Mark Hardesty. I have an office over in Jacksonville Beach and use the ferry as a commute. But it's not a commute, it's kind of a day trip. I look forward to it both in the morning and the afternoon because it gives me time to relax, unwind, and enjoy the ride. And I invite all of you, if you have not been on the St. Johns River Ferry, to take the trip, because the trip in and of itself is worth taking. I encourage you to ride the ferry and see what it's all about. For those of you that have ridden the ferry, you know right now what I am talking about, and I will bet you've had a great experience on the ferry. I have a 12-year-old son that regularly rides the ferry over to Atlantic Beach and is picked up there by his friend's parents, plays for the day, and rides back in the evening or vice versa. It's an opportunity for him to simply walk on the ferry, ride over safely, and saves a tremendous amount of my time, and certainly saves a tremendous amount of my time for work. You see kayakers, bikers, you see all of the folks that enjoy and have appreciated Northeast Florida, whether they're on their way south or whether they're on their way north up towards Fernandina and into Georgia. There are so many fantastic venues to visit and to see, and the ferry is the gateway to each of those. So next time you have the opportunity, next time you're traveling Florida's A1A, the road that goes all the way from Key West to Maine, this is an integral part of that highway system. And it's probably one of the most enjoyable. So it is critical that you support the ferry, enjoy the ferry. It'll give you much more back than it will take.
Well, thank you so much for coming out here today and giving me an opportunity to tell you how important the ferry is for BAE Systems. The ferry's been a part of BAE Systems and Atlantic Marine since the early 1960s. What you see behind you is our latest construction project. It's a jack-up barge being built for the offshore wind energy. I want to talk to you today about the St. Johns River Ferry and how important it is to our employees and to this business. We have approximately 500 employees at this facility. We also have a facility on Mayport Naval Station. We routinely use the ferry to transport our employees back and forth between the two work sites. And it's not uncommon that an employee may work a couple weeks here and then go to the other facility depending on the workload. Every day we alternate people and equipment between the Mayport facility and the Hexer Drive facility. So the ferry is very, very important to us. We have the choice whether we send somebody on the road and they spend 30 to 45 minutes in traffic, which is idle time for us, and also it's wear and tear on their vehicles, and we have to pay for their gas mileage and time to get over there. So we use the ferry in two ways. Number one is our commuting to and from the work, and number two, during our course of business every day, we use it all the time. Also, we will use the ferry to move equipment across the river. And from our perspective, the 30 minutes that we save having persons and equipment driving and put them on the ferry is a huge benefit to this business. So we believe this ferry is vital to our business. We believe it's vital to the North Florida area and all the tourists and all the people that work and live around here. Another reason we find the ferry important is we actually built it. We built the ferry that runs across the river and we maintain it. So it's a source of jobs and employment for our local people. And we pull the ferry twice out of the water every 5 years and do maintenance on it. The ferry and BAE are very close together, and we view it as very important to our success in being able to be a part of Jacksonville.
In 1999, they had a big scare around here when Hurricane Floyd skirted the coast. They thought it was going to come right into the Jacksonville area, but instead it stayed about 100 miles offshore. Nevertheless, they evacuated people from this area, and it was quite a melee from what I heard. I was working on the ferry at the time, and we ran the ferry until 4 o'clock on the day before the hurricane was supposed to come through as an evacuation route to get people off of the islands and stuff up here. And
okay, thank you very much.
Then we took the ferry downtown because it was we had to moor it downtown, and we stayed through it for the whole time that the hurricane passed by and kept it manned up. And then we were right back out here as soon as we were given the okay. We were right back out here to handle the traffic, you know, going back to their residence and stuff after that. There's a lot of problems during windstorms when trees come down across roads, bridges don't work right, and various things happen. And so it's good to have another access like the ferry to be able to handle that.
Ride the ferry to access the largest urban park system in the nation. The Timucuan Trail State National Parks in Jacksonville encompasses over 80,000 acres of park lands and waterways. Within it are state parks, city parks, and national parks. The opportunities are endless. Ride the ferry to the north And you can access Kingsley Plantation in the Timucuan Preserve, Fort George and Talbot Islands, and Huguenot Park. You can birdwatch over 300 species of birds. You can kayak the waterways, segway in the woods, ride a horse on the beach. The opportunities truly are endless. Ride the ferry to the south and you can access Fort Caroline National Memorial, where you'll learn about the early French settlers who arrived here 450 years ago. Or you can also learn about the expanse of human existence, 6,000 years of history here in the Jacksonville area. Timucuan Preserve is the #1 tourist attraction in Jacksonville. Don't miss it. Ride the ferry.
I'm taking the greatest way to travel home. I'm crossing the St. Johns River on the MV Jean Ribaud, and there's no better way to get home than to cross on this beautiful ferry, on this beautiful river, in a community that I love and many other people love. I see a lot of people standing on this vessel taking pictures, Kodak moments, and you don't see them stand in front of the Danes Point Bridge or the Acosta Bridge or the Main Street Bridge. I see a lot of people for recreational events, football games. I can tell what football game is being played by the flags and the tags on the vehicles crossing the St. Johns River Ferry. Because when they come to Jacksonville, it's one of the things people want to do. Because it's the only continuous operation ferry in the state of Florida. It is the only one south of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It is a very, very beautiful way to go home every day, and it makes going home that much better.
Hi, I'm Mike Picula. Since I've retired, I've been involved in the bicycling community. This summer in 2012, the Amee Island Trail will begin construction on Amee Island. The next phase will be finished about the same time on the Timucuan Trail on the Talbot Islands. Talbot Island State Park is sponsoring much of that activity. Those two trails taken together are going to be a real boon for local cyclists, but they'll also become a part of a much larger bicycling system called the East Coast Greenway. The East Coast Greenway will originate on the northern tip of Maine, a town called Calais, Maine. It'll wind its way down the eastern seaboard, crossing 13 states, all the way down to Key West, Florida, for a grand total of somewhere around 3,000 miles. That's an epic bike journey for many people, and I hope to do it one day myself. If I don't, I'll still continue to ride locally, as will many others. But we all depend on the crossing of the St. Johns River Ferry. Without that, we cyclists just don't have a good, safe, and legal way to get across the St. Johns River. So I'd urge you to support the St. Johns River Ferry Service whenever and however you can. Thank you very much.